and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the future of the foreign direct investments into the country and the positive impacts of those investments on the Egyptian economy. But we'll be first starting straight with the main headlines and the main top story for today, which comes through the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, but in the economic and the investment fields, as President al-Sisi stressed the importance of improving the investment atmosphere and working to enhance the Egyptian status as a regional hub for attracting foreign direct investments in line with the state's priorities. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday stressed the importance of improving the investment atmosphere and working to enhance Egypt's status as a regional hub for attracting foreign direct investments in line with the state's priorities. The president made these remarks in a meeting with Prime Minister Mostafa and a number of ministers on the executive steps for boosting the competitiveness of the national economy and increasing foreign direct investments through a single investment strategy, which includes required structural reforms, set targets, clear and stable financial and trade policies, which encourages the private sector investments. The meeting also touched on the efforts for alleviating the burdens facing investors, particularly the documents needed to pump investments in the national market. The meeting tackled developments of the action taken by Egypt's sovereign fund to optimizing the value of the company's affiliate to the fund and to survey and follow up the work of the state-owned companies to ensure their increased investment value and internal revenues. President al-Sisi urged officials to continue efforts for maximizing the revenues from the state assets and achieving an added value for the Egyptian economy through managing such assets by innovative strategies in partnership with the private sector. The head of state also called for continued efforts on the state's digital transformation drive, being a key pillar to development pursuits in the country.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and we will be heading to another report for the program for tonight, focusing on the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that took place over the past week, all wrapped up in the upcoming report, so stay tuned.
Via his official Facebook account, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi writes a word on the occasion of celebrating Africa Day on May the 25th every year. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives a delegation of U.S. businessmen participating in the Egyptian-American Economic Forum held in Cairo. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives a phone call from the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi follows up on the latest developments related to the Dejolians Entrepreneurs Initiative, especially where executive procedures are concerned, in order to join the initiative. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi follows up on the recent work updates of the projects of the Future Egypt Apparatus for Sustainable Development. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives a phone call from the Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Engineer Mostafa and Naggari, the economic and development expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you, Ahmed. It's a pleasure as usual to be with you.
Anytime. The pleasure is all mine. We'll be starting with a report about the same topic for the Daily Debate for tonight, focusing on Egypt topping the African list for the foreign direct investments. We'll be having more details regarding such an achievement in the past year, so stay tuned.
According to the UN Trade and Development UNCTAD's World Investment Report 2024, global foreign direct investment (FDI) fell 2% to $1.3 trillion in 2023, with a 26% drop in international project finance deals. Developing countries were the hardest hit, according to the report, with FDI inflows dropping 7% compared to 2022. In Egypt, FDI net inflows have seen an upswing, reaching $46.1 billion in fiscal year 2023-2024, the highest level ever recorded, compared to $10 billion in fiscal year 2022-2023. While this was largely due to the one-off $35 billion Ras al-Hikma investment from the UAE, the growth is representative of a wider government drive to attract FDI, with a target of $30 billion in fiscal year 2024-2025. The influx of foreign capital is expected to reinforce economic growth, create jobs, and facilitate technology transfer, ultimately contributing to Egypt's overall development. And while this FDI growth trajectory signifies increased confidence in the Egyptian economy and its investment climate, despite domestic challenges, much is still to be done to ensure Egypt's long-term fiscal sustainability and that economic growth trickles down to benefit all citizens. Over the last 3 years, neighboring Arab countries and China have also made key contributions in Egypt's direct foreign investments. This is due in large part to more attractive valuations, the government's pro-business reforms, such as liberalizing foreign investment policies and improving infrastructure.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate. Engineer Mostafa and Naggari, we did see over the past report statistics saying that Egypt is topping the list of the foreign direct investments in the year of 2025. How do you see such an achievement now?
First of all, of course, I have to congratulate all Muslims and all Arabs with the Adha feast, which is approaching all of us, and wishing all people in the area the safety and security and peace, and of course this situation which is surrounding us with the geopolitics are affecting Egypt, and although all these problems we are facing in the area, we still see Egypt is improving year by year, as we have mentioned before. We had before a meeting about that, and we can say that Egypt government is still continue to strengthen the position of Egypt as an attractive investment hub, not only in the Middle East but also for Africa and for the whole world. And we have to go to the review the report of the IDSC, which have focused on the improvement which have been given by the government to facilitate the entry processes for the investors to come, and to try to attract more and more investors, as we have mentioned before, that to try to have a good environmental climate for the investment. It should always give two ways, as we say. It's not only the easy berth or the easy entry. We have also to facilitate for the investors to move whenever they like to move. Because if they see that there will be obstacles while you are departing, they will not come. And we have mentioned that before several times to the cabinet, and that's why I can see that facilitating all the legislations and the steps which have been taken, there was a lot of corrective actions taken in the fields of investment law and in the labor law and in the civil law and customs law, tax law.
Yes.
And at the end, the whole process is now in a better position, and we can see what we call immigration of investments from different ways in the whole world and the global to Egypt, benefiting from that. Of course, we have been always saying that Egypt have a very attractive location, but for us as a business people, we always say that it is in the center of the trade legs in the world.
Yes.
So that's why, according to what we have seen, according to the pandemic of Corona, COVID-19, and after that the war in Russia to Ukraine, we have seen that there was a lot of obstacles in the supply chain and in the transport in general, and the prices of oil have increased a lot, and it was a big problem for the industrial zones, either in Asia or in the US or even in China, to continue. That's why they have moved on. China have a big problem, which is called the Go Global. They are trying to attract their investors to go out to the closest points of transport, which is Egypt in general. So that's why we have seen immigration, if I can say this is the correct word, and we have heard that from ambassador of Turkey, ambassador of China, ambassador of even the US, that there is immigration coming to Egypt, which we have seen starting from 2024, if I can say. So the results are showing that, and we can see that in the numbers of companies which have been established. We have seen a lot of industrial zones, and industrial plots have been occupied in a very short time, and we are now running more and more to try to find more lands suitable for investors to come. But mainly the strategy of Gafi, which is responsible, and they are the cabinet arm for investment, if we can say, is focusing on the economical map of Egypt, if we can say. So they are trying to allocate the best area and the best field in general. So they are focusing on industry, on health, on tourism, agriculture, communications, logistics. So there is a lot of movement we can see in the time being, and we are, as a business people, who feel that Egypt is moving more and more.
Yes.
Despite what I have mentioned, that there is, of course, geopolitics problems surrounding us, but at the time being, there is a big movement in all the sectors.
Yes, Engineer Mostafa and Naggari, we did see today a meeting by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with Prime Minister Dr. Mostafa Madbouli and a number of ministers. And the main statement made by His Excellency President al-Sisi was to be improving the investment atmosphere, the atmosphere for investment and the foreign direct investments into Egypt in the upcoming phase. How do you see the atmosphere nowadays for investments, and how can we be improving it according to the statements of President
I have
al-Sisi?
to go further back about 2-3 months. We have seen the Prime Minister himself having meetings, live meetings in front of everybody for a long time. Every meeting was having more than 2 hours or 3 hours. And then they led to permanent units combined between the ministers and the private investors in several sectors. And I think this was needed in a certain time to try to have an open gateway between both sides, because as we see that business people are always having the clear mirror for the government about what is going on in the whole world and how the economy is moving. And I think this have helped a lot. So I think that His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meeting today was focusing on achievement, but we are always saying that we can do much, much better at the time being. So let us, I think, hope for better, but we believe that we are improving. Even we see that from the statistics of the exports. We in 2024 we have reached about $41 billion. In the first quarter of 2025, we are reaching now about 9.7, almost 10. But I think that we are going on the second quarter much better.
Yes.
We are expecting to come to 48 or $49 billion exports.
Yes, Engineer Mostafa and Naggari mentioned a very important number now, which is the number of exports from Egypt to the outside world, reaching about $41 billion in 2024. For the first quarter of 2025, about $9 or $10 billion. This means that we are on the same trajectory to be ending the year with 48 billion dollars by the end of the year. But the main target is $100 billion. Can we reach this number? When can we reach it?
You know, to reach this, you have, first of all, as we have mentioned, that the investment is the driving process for the whole economy.
Yes.
So we are now increasing the investments. We are attracting more and more investors in several sectors. And with investment, production will increase, and after that, exports will increase.
Yes.
So we believe what we have seen in the last 4 or 5 months is really very promising, if we can say that we can do that. Of course, we are day by day in contact with the cabinet, and the doors are open, as I mentioned before. And I think that in several sectors, especially renewable energy, the green hydrogen, the ammonia, the building materials is improving. The fertilizers with the chemical, the agriculture, the food industry, they are really moving very fast. And I think that easily we can reach 100. That's why after that they have a strategy of 145.
Yes.
So I think we are going better and better, and we have seen that as we mentioned in the last report in the CBE, that the reserve of the foreign currencies are increasing. We are touching now $49 billion.
I think historical numbers.
Yeah,
yes.
It was, And on the other side, the stability of the currency, the local currency exchange against the foreign currencies, while we have seen the big movement, let us say, between the euro and the dollar. But in Egypt, the Egyptian pound is gaining more and more. It is steadily, it's not so fast, it's not big movements, which we don't like as business people, but it is stable. So you can build a long-term contracts and long-term agreements with your clients, which was one of the demands of the exporters on the other side.
Yes, and of course, before heading to the upcoming report for the daily debate, I would like to ask about the competitiveness of the Egyptian economy, because this was one important point made by President Al-Sisi and Prime Minister Madhouli for today. We need to be boosting the Egyptian competitiveness. Who are we competing against nowadays? The African markets, the Arab markets like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, globally. How do you see the competition? How can we be boosting this competitiveness?
At the time being, you cannot, we have, of course, as we say, usual markets and the usual clients. But according to what we see from the severe and fast exchanges all over the world, you are always ready to attack any market. We are always there. Egypt is considered to be the second best alternative for any market. We are hardly number one, but we are always there. So that's why we see that in the building material and in the mining, we have seen that they have increased a lot, because there was a business in the mining of gold, and we have seen that Egypt have exported in 2024 about $3.7 billion only gold.
Yes.
So And the investment in this sector is increasing more and more. Also, if you go for the renewable energy, Egypt is considered one of the best, maybe 35 or 40 destinations all over the world for the solar energy. And I was 2 weeks ago in Italy in one of the biggest agriculture exhibition in Europe, and they are. We have been, Egypt is the guest of honor for that, because about 60 companies have been participating between exhibitors and visitors. And everybody is looking for Egypt as a backbone for Europe for the production of food. The whole world is facing a food crisis, and they are talking about food security, and all the governments are now supporting the producers. So that's why there was a message which I have led, of course, to the cabinet and the Minister of Agriculture, that we have to increase our support and aid to the producers, because now there is no talks a lot about supporting exports. Exports will continue because there is demand.
Yes.
But you have to produce more and more, and we have linked together the renewable energy with agriculture by new methods which is called agrivoltaics. So they can have like the greenhouses, but it's all solar panels.
Yes.
So you can benefit from the unit of land and the unit of water with the unit of power and electricity. So the whole world is always moving and trying to implement new theories to try to minimize the cost of production, to increase the production itself. Accordingly, we have the climate changes and a lot of obstacles. So everybody is trying to work together. Nobody, no government, I think, at the time being is working solely or by themselves.
Yes.
You have to be together because we need everybody to overcome the position which is damaging the whole world.
Yes, Engineer Mostafa and Naggari, allow me to be going to the last report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on Egypt boosting the foreign direct investments in order to be boosting the Egyptian economy and the investment and the business atmosphere in the country. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade Hassan Al-Khatib said that Egypt is focusing on attracting foreign direct investment by improving their business environment and streamlining procedures. Al-Khatib made the remarks during a panel discussion organized by the Egyptian Private Equity and Venture Capital Association to address the government's efforts to facilitate investment and promote foreign trade. The panel tackled the government initiatives to revise legislation related to improving the investment climate and simplifying procedures with the goal of enhancing Egypt's appeal to both domestic and foreign investors. Al-Khatib emphasized the state's commitment to attracting more foreign direct investment by focusing on improving their business environment and easing procedures. This is intended to strengthen Egypt's competitiveness as a major investment and trade destination in the region. He stated that the ministry is committed to providing sustainable investment opportunities that support economic growth. Al-Khatib pointed to Egypt's developed infrastructure, new cities' large consumer market and qualified workforce, as well as its strategic geographic location that facilitates access to markets in the Middle East, Europe, Africa and Asia. He stressed that the Egyptian market has attractive investment components which are reflected in the increasing demand from new companies that have already begun investing in Egypt, taking advantage of growth opportunities and diverse investment incentives. He added that the state supports the localization of local industry by protecting national products from harmful trade practices. He noted that the state is working to give the private sector a pivotal role in driving the economy while continuing in its regulatory role to ensure a fair and transparent investment environment.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Engineer Mostafa Naggari, the economic and development expert. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. The pleasure is all mine. We did see today, and through the report and through the statements made by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, we need better structural reforms for the economy, and in order to be having more foreign direct investments into the Egyptian economy. How would you define reforms and the policies needed to be enacted to be getting more investments?
First of all, we have to speak about the monetary policy and the monetary reforms of the Central Bank of Egypt and the financial structure of the Egyptian banks, which is going very well and very attractive. That's why they have been able to give intensive and financial programs with less interest rates, if we can say that, to support the main sectors like the tourism, like the industry, like the agriculture as well. In the agriculture sector, we are for the SMEs especially, they are getting loans by 5%, while the normal interest rate is about 25%.
Yes.
So there is, of course, big challenges and big sacrifices which the monetary system of Egypt is helping the sectors to try to increase the production and to continue. On the other side, the legislations is one of the main issues for Egypt, environment or economical environment, because now I think it is more easier. We have platforms, we have electronic websites, or it is easy that you can apply and follow up your business through the government, either in industrial zones. We have seen that at least in the last 2-3 months about 450 plots were covered easily through the by internet. You just have to apply.
Yes.
And then you see the trade actions, either exports or imports. It's also through website, and it is facilitating the process of the trade and the saving money and time. I have to thank His Excellency Mr. Hassan Khatib. He have really focused on a lot of procedures which have been shrinked at the time being, and the calculation is leading to, I think, saving $2 to $2.5 billion from the trade, which were over burden for the trade, and they were paid either by the consumer here or the consumer there. We are trying to facilitate, as usual, the trade and make it much more easier, faster, and much more economical, if you can say. So I think that we have seen that Egypt, of course, have since 2014 have been modernizing the roads, the national road net of Egypt, have been improving the efficiency of the seaports and the airports, have been improving the services in the telecommunications, and also trying to spread the services all over the country. It is not centralized in Cairo as it was before or Alexandria. No, you can have authorities like JOIC, the General Organization of Control and Exports and Import. It is everywhere in most of the governorates. Also, the custom offices and all the authorities are having now a department which is called the CRM, which is the Consumer Reaction Monitor. You have to review the reaction and of your customer. Either he is manufacturer, or he is a packer or exporter,
He has to be
or
satisfied.
service provider. You have to monitor. Otherwise, there will be a lot of problem. So I think that there is the environment is much easier, and as we mentioned, that the tax program, and thanks to the Minister of Finance, he's facilitating a lot of processes for the people, and many of the cases which have been in the court between investors and the tax department are solved now. They are trying to give initiatives, positive initiatives for the investors to try to close the files, the old files, and to open new page, as we say. So this is giving us more positive reaction about what we can say. We have seen that everywhere, whenever we travel in all the sectors, that Egypt is attractive for everyone to come. The competitiveness of Egypt is increasing day by day, while on the opposite sides there is a lot of high cost and high the energy cost in Europe. Really, it's very high in the US, in China as well, in Russia as well. Even it is a source of power, but at the end we can see that at the time being the cost of power is still very early, although Egypt is moving to the renewable energy, and by 2050, I think that 40–45% of the electricity which will be given to the whole country, it will be totally from the renewable energy, which is a big work, and it will be a very big achievement, because Egypt is not a small country. It's, you cannot compare it with others, but at the end that everybody is moving in each sector. Of course, there is some routine works which are there, but we are trying to solve it day by day. There is some talks about the challenges of water, because I think it's a big issue at the time being for Egypt. But everybody is moving, and we have seen a lot of projects in the agriculture as well. Improvement in the food industry as well. In the some days there was a problem of the gas, but they overcome automatically, and
these are parts of the reforms that we were speaking about in the policies.
You have to move, you have to move.
Engineer Mostafa Naggari, the economic and development expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate, and the happy Eid and the happy feast for the upcoming week.
Thank you, you too. Thank you so much.
And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.